Vedantam paramam guhyam purakale prachoditam na aprashantaya datavyam na putraya na shishyaya va punaha, says Shvetashvatara Upanishad. It says this knowledge of Upanishad is very secretive, very sacred and a secret knowledge. And this was the knowledge which was being taught long time ago. And it also cautions the teacher that this knowledge should not be shared with the one who is aprashant manasa, means the one whose mind is agitated, not at peace because of several desires. And in Kathopanishad, the aprashanta manasa person, the one whose mind is disturbed, is defined by Sri Adi Shankaracharya as the one who is in a hurry to get moksha, and that's why he is disturbed. Even to that extent, your mind has to be calm. So Upanishadic truths should not be taught to those who don't have peace of mind. Na aputraya, not to be taught to those who are not your own children, it says. Because you don't know what is their background, what is their qualification, what is their eligibility, what is their sincerity in learning. Since you have never met them, you never know them. Also, na ashishyaya va punaha. If they are not your disciples, then also you should not teach this. This is how Shvetashvatara Upanishad cautions the teacher, and also it's the caution for the learner that you cannot unduly demand the knowledge of Upanishads. Our Narasimhamurthy said that this knowledge is available in plenty today, and with electronic media and what you call Kindle and all kinds of people speaking about it on the YouTube, and now this new disease called Zoom is there everywhere. People are taking classes and things are going on. But it also is very important to teach it responsibly. Just teaching anybody without the qualification of being a good learner, it's not merely the waste of the time of the teacher and the student, because nothing is going to come out of it other than just confusion and some questions which have no head and tail. But it is not an honorable thing to do. You have to culture the minds of your students and then only teach this knowledge. See, in Prashnopanishad we have come across the 6 disciples who go and ask the Muni Pippalada to teach them about various aspects. They had questions in their minds, 6 questions, and Pippalada tells them all. So they are already learned scholars. They were not some newborn babies who walked in. They were all learned scholars, but there were some questions which they did not find answers to. And the Rishi Pippalada, Bhagavan they call him, means he's effulgent, he's aware of that knowledge, he's experienced that knowledge, therefore he's Bhagavan. And he says to them, good that you all have come, but I would like you to stay 1 year here in my ashram still and practice tapas, brahmacharya, shraddha, and then I will teach you after 1 year. And they continue to stay at the ashram of Rishi Pippalada and learn later. After a year, he calls them and then answers their questions one by one, as Prashnopanishad is about questions and answers. The idea of teaching spiritual knowledge is that it should be taught to the deserving ones. And who deserves these Upanishads? Who has Shraddha? Pippalada's criteria, not mine. In our Upanishad, wherever you go, they will say, Brahmavido Vadanti, they will say and wash off their hands. The great scholars have said this, not me, so don't blame me. Like that. Pippalada said it. They have to perform tapas. Tapas just does not mean going and sitting in a Padmasana posture and closing your eyes and taking upon yourself some severe austerities. Tapas means that burning desire, as if your body is on fire And nothing will soothe other than a cool shower of rain. That kind of burning desire, if somebody has, is eligible for learning Upanishad. Then Brahmacharya. Brahman, yesterday we pursued Brahmacharini Devi. The one whose charya means behavior or conduct or even one's profession. One's whole life is about thinking of Brahman. Such a person is Brahmachari. Many people very loosely put it as continence or abstinence, but that is one way. Idea is that when your mind is always thinking of God, where is the time for the mind to think of anything else? Therefore, Brahmacharya. And Shraddha is extremely important. The other day, somebody spoke, and I think Nathamurti also said about Shraddha. And I also mentioned. Today they chanted the Shraddha Suktam. Whatever you do with Shraddha. Shraddhaya deyam, ashraddhaya adeyam. Whatever you give with Shraddha. Without Shraddha, do not give, they say. It's better not to give than to give with ashraddha. Shraddhavan labate jnanam, says Bhagavad Gita. Only the person with Shraddha will be able to achieve wisdom. And there are many other places where Shraddha comes. Viveka Chudamani, the other day is Shastrasya, Guru Vakyasya, Sattva Buddha Avadharanam. The one who has pure faith and devotion to the Guru's word and of the scriptures. Such a person is known as the Shraddhavan. And all these things are the criteria to even start on this journey. Otherwise, you can listen to it. Like the student who goes to the school and the teacher teaches him in the Pathshala, Aham Brahmasmi. And the child asks, what does that mean? He says, I am God. That's what it means. And he is convinced and he goes back home and father asks, what did you learn? He says, Aham Brahmasmi. That's wonderful. That's one of the Mahavakyas. What does that mean? It means teacher is God. No, teacher is not God. I am God. That's what it means. Oh, the teacher lied to me. My father is God is what the child understands. And when he goes further, his uncle meets him and asks, what happened? What did you learn? He said, Aham Brahmasmi. Now what is that? What does it mean? So this means my father is God. No, it means I am God. Oh, my father is also lying. He doesn't know much. My uncle is God. That is why na aputraya, na ashishyaya datavyam, it says. Don't teach it to those who are not eligible for it. Then why did Swami Vivekananda go all the way? Why did so many other missionaries of Sanatana Dharma, they went about preaching it, and even today it is freely being distributed and propagated by all, including me. Why do we do that still? Because we are in Kali Kalam. In Kali Yuga, the interest of people in God is diminished to the lowest possible extent. And even to attract them towards God, not by enticing them with all kinds of pleasures, comfort, security, and deathlessness, or whatever, freedom from disease and poverty, not by these things, but by telling them that the purpose of life is to realize God, is very, very difficult. Very difficult in this Kali age. So what these people said, they said, at least let us give them a glimpse of what it is. And those who are attracted by it, they will anyway follow us. They will come. But for the rest of the world, there has not been even somebody to tell them what is the truth, what is the purpose. So let us at least talk about it and teach only to those who ultimately take it very sincerely. You can talk about it, but ultimately taking a Shishya and teaching them should be done with great caution, with great discernment. Else it will not find its true value. That is very, very important. Upanishadic knowledge is the most valuable knowledge in the world. There are many types of Shastras that Indian culture or Indian spirituality talks about. Vedas, Vedangas are there, Puranas are there, Upapuranas are there. So many other Shastras, Agamas are there, Shastras are there, many. But if you squeeze them all and take out the purest essence, the uncontaminated purified, distilled essence of all our Indian scriptures, it's Upanishads. And therefore, I am very insistent that in our university, Upanishadic studies should become very, very serious studies. The other day, I was discussing with a lady, and as they say, Sarvopanishado Gavo, Dogda Gopala Nandanaha, Partho Vatsa Sudhi Bhukta, Dugdha Gitamritam Mahat. Gita is the essence of Upanishads, they say, because it contains almost all the ideas of all Upanishads are present in Bhagavad Gita. So we have decided that our children should learn Bhagavad Gita while they are between 6th and 10th class. So by the time they finish their 10th class, they at least have some knowledge of what it is which is there in Upanishads given to them through Bhagavad Gita. By 11th and 12th, they should all study all the Upanishads. All the Upanishads means at least the main 8 Upanishads they should study. And in the UG, they should further go to the third part of the Prasthanatraya, as they call the Brahma Sutras, and deeper study of the Upanishads. That should be the curriculum. For students till class 10th, anyways, they will have to study Bhagavad Gita alongside their academics. No choice. They cannot say that this, because if they say, Swami, you told Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, Na prashantam taya, I am not at peace, I cannot study. Aputraya, I am not your son, I cannot study. Ashishya, I am not disabled, nothing. Everybody is my child, so you have compulsory to study this. You are Putraya or Putri, you cannot escape this. But once you taste it, you see, that small child, when it's given a medicine, it spits it out. Doesn't like the taste of it, because it doesn't know that it is good for it. It refuses, resists. But eventually it gets to understand that this is important for its health. And then the child is able to appreciate, and even if it's a bitter decoction, it drinks it without much complaint. So that is the idea, that children should develop a taste for this knowledge of Upanishads through Bhagavad Gita, the Prasthanatraya mainly, Bhagavad Gita. Some of the main Dasha Upanishads are there, main 10 Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutras. And alongside in the BA, which the course is coming, there is also Agama Shastras, there are various other Shad Darshanas, and other things are also going to be taught, so that they get a very broad and comprehensive view of the foundation scriptures of the Indian spiritual philosophies. To me, this is the most important work that has to be done in today's world. Before we find vaccines for incurable diseases, before we rush to provide care and comfort to the masses, before we do anything else, try to reach Mars, Moon, and the other side of the Moon and wherever, the most important work that has to be done in today's time is to teach children our scriptural knowledge, these important ideas of Upanishads, ideas of Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutras. And along with that, you can also do Karma Kanda. We are doing pujas, homas, yajnas. There is no, somebody may think these are two very opposite things, but it is not so. See, Adi Shankara himself, you see, he has composed most of the stotrams on most of the gods and goddesses. And he also at the same time condemned the Puranas and said they are contaminated, he would call them. Because there are stories which have been twisted and turned to suit the times and needs. And suddenly you see Vishnu fighting against Shiva, and Shiva angry with Brahma, and Brahma is after the life of Vishnu and Shiva, and then Devi is having her own tantrums, and Puranas is all kind of, okay, take the essence wherever it appeals to you, but the true essence of Indian scriptures comes from the Vedas, and more importantly, the ultimate Upanishad. They're called Vedanta. The ultimate epitome, consummation, the crux, the essence of all the Vedas is Vedanta. It does not mean it is at the end of the Vedas that you have to study that. It simply means it is the ultimate. Beyond that, there is nothing else. Anta means is the final word of the Vedas. Therefore, Upanishadic studies is very, very important, and many steps are being taken. I am so happy that when I listen to these children, I don't know where, he reappeared, this 10-year-old who was student of mine during Upanishad classes. He stayed through all the classes, throughout the entire session of 8 Upanishads and through all the Kathopanishad. He typed the entire speech that I gave on Kathopanishad for 1 month. Can you imagine? That is equivalent to 60 hours of speech. He typed it personally sitting at home and handed it over to our Prakashana team to edit and publish. So much of interest. I was with him a few days ago and I asked him, what was the most striking thought of Kathopanishad? I asked him. And he said, the idea of Nachiketa, that we are all born like seeds, you see, like a corn, and we die like the corn seeds or sesame seeds, whichever. The shloka says that sasyam api. That is, sasya means that kind of a seed. It means like a crop that comes up today and dies tomorrow. Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya yatha pare sasyamiva chayate martyaha sasyamiva pachyate punaha. This is the essence of the shloka. And this boy told me, this appealed to me. And look at that thought. The shloka says, when Nachiketa tells his father, Vajeshravas, that what are you doing with yourself? You're a scholar. You got to be honest and sincere in your things. You're donating old, dying cows who can't drink water, can't give milk in the name of charity. And he tells his father, when father gets angry against Shraddha, Vivesha Tasmai, overcome by Shraddha, Nachiketas goes and tells his father, what are you doing is all wrong. This is not going to get you any merit. And then this shloka he tells and says, do consider what has happened in the past to your own forefathers. And do look around what's happening to those who do not follow the sincere approach to these rituals and prayers. We are born like a crop of corn and we die soon after. That's all is our existence on earth. Should you behave like this in such a small existence? Should you not use it better? And he told me that this is the shloka that appealed to him. And I was surprised because there are many shlokas, more powerful, more interesting and more popular shlokas from Kathopanishad. But he quoted this. A 10-year-old boy. He understood life is so temporary, fragile, bubble-like. When it will burst, you don't know. Should you even waste this life in doing things which are not right? Should you waste this life in pursuit of things which are temporary? Should you even behave in a way which is not befitting the noble human birth that you have received? This thought, it gets inside the minds of students who are 10 years old, 12 years old in our institutions. You can only imagine what it is going to lead to. Their understanding of life, the purpose, their efforts in life will be direct toward this one purpose of achieving that realization that Aham Brahma Sarvam Brahma. And everything else will become secondary. Their academics will become secondary. Their professions will become secondary. The relationships. Unless they all lead them towards this one goal, they will refuse. So that is the idea. And if 10-year-old children can understand such an important truth, I'm sure the elders have all the opportunity to do. But the idea is Shraddha. A 10-year boy sits throughout 4.5 months of Upanishadic teachings. Day after day after day. He pestered me to join. And then I also tested and tried and I found that he has the Shraddha to learn. This is what is required. We need Nachiketas. I told all we need in today's times are our students should look like Nachiketas and Nachiketis, whichever way you put it. We must have children with that intense curiosity, that tapas in them. To know the truth and nothing other than the truth. And when our children rise and learn, all the problems of the world will be solved. And tomorrow the world will look towards India, Indian culture, Indian spirituality to find answers to those questions which they don't have answers to. And that is the time when this Upanishadic knowledge, spoken through all of you, to all the people, will become the most important knowledge of the world. So we have a great task ahead of us. We have a noble endeavor to undertake, and nothing else, absolutely nothing else other than this will help the world in the future. Not the nuclear reactors, not the environmentalists campaigning around, not the United Nations and their worldwide programs, not NATO's, nothing. The only thing that will save the world from all the misery and turn it into a real heaven is this understanding of Upanishad, if taught to the entire world eventually, slowly. And as of now, the Upanishads are not translated into several languages. They are limited to a few languages around the world. But we will do the work of translating these Upanishads to several languages. We have a big team of translators. They all have been given the task of translating the discourses so far. And thereafter, their job would be to translate the teachings of the Upanishads in their languages. More than 30, 40 languages it will get translated through the university's effort. And it will reach masses around the world. That's a great task ahead of us. I was telling Mr. Kageri, who had come yesterday, what was started by Adi Shankaracharya and continued by Vivekananda will be concluded by us. And that is the idea of our future. So be ready, be prepared, and be proud that you have got this opportunity come your way. It's a wonderful golden opportunity. It's a history in making. And you're going to be the part of that beautiful history. If only you develop tapas, shraddha and brahmacharya, thinking of God all the time with a burning, intense desire to know the truth and great, sincere, devoted effort in that direction. Very happy.